Algebra 1, Lesson 90, word problems with two statements of equality. So these are just more word problems helping us find values of numbers. We'll start with the number of boys in Sarah's class. Sarah don't want to be worrying about the boys in her class, but whatever, we'll do the math anyway. The number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded the number of girls by 7. If there were a total of 29 pupils in the class, how many were boys and how many were girls? Excuse me. Okay. So, the first thing is that number of boys exceeds the number of girls by 7. Now, this is a little bit tough, and the way I always like to do this is I always like to set these equal, which we know is not true, and then make it true. So, if the boys exceeds the number of girls by 7, that means this is the bigger number. In order to make these equal, I need to add 7 to the smaller number. So, number of boys equals number of girls plus 7. The other way I could have done this is I could have set them equal. Like number of girls is equal to number of boys. That is not true because boys is bigger than girls. By how much is it bigger? By 7. So I can either make the smaller number bigger or I can make the bigger number smaller. So if I take number of boys minus 7, then that's true again. So two different ways to solve this. But I'm going to focus on using this one. Now the other thing they tell us is that there are 29 pupils in the class. So total number of students. Number of boys plus number of girls is going to equal 29. Now we're going to use substitution to solve. We'll take this and we will substitute right there for number of boys. So number of girls plus 7 plus number of girls equals 29. I'll rewrite by combining like terms. So 2 times the number of girls plus 7 equals 29. Then I'll start solving my equation. Can subtract 7 from both sides. I get 2 times number of girls is equal to 22. Divide by 2. And I get 11. Number of girls is equal to 11. Now if number of girls is equal to 11 and the number of boys is 7 greater, then I add 7 to 11 and the number of boys is 18. If I did math right, this should add up to 29, and it does. So that's word problems with two statements of equalities. Let's do bigger, smaller numbers, because these are a little confusing for people sometimes. They tell us that the greater of two numbers is 16 greater than the smaller. When added together, their sum is 4 less than 3 times the smaller. What are the numbers? This is a little bit of a tough one to tackle. So let's start with the first sentence. The greater number is 16 greater than the smaller. So the way I always do these unknowns is I just write big and small. So the big number is 16 greater than the smaller. So the big number equals the smaller plus 16. Right? And then these are usually easier to figure out because it's already big and small. So that's my first equation. Now they tell me when I add them together, so bigger plus smaller, their sum is 4 less than 3 times the smaller. What? So let's break this down. 4 less than 3 times the smaller. 4 less means I'm going to subtract 4 at the end. And then what's 3 times the smaller? Well, that's 3 times s. Now I have two equations, and I can substitute. So I will take this. I will substitute it for b. This rewrites as s plus 16 plus s equals 3s minus 4. I have to rewrite this equation even more by adding like terms. Oh wait, so substitute was in orange. We'll do rewrite in purple again. Adding like terms, I get 2s plus 16 equals 3s minus 4. From here I can start solving. I want to get all the s's on one side, so I'll go ahead and subtract 2s from each side. And I want to get this 4. So when I do that, these cancel, and then I get 1s. And then I also want to get this 4 to the other side, so I'll add 4 to each side. That cancels. And then I get 20. So if 1s is equal to 20, then the small number is equal to 20. Now if the small number the big number is equal to small number plus 16, if I add 16 to 20, I get 36, and that equals the big number. that's all there is for this lesson. If you guys have any, so again, this is just another lesson where we're using stuff that we already know. The tricky part is sometimes writing the equations. So if you guys have any questions, let me know on Moodle, and I will see you in class.